Always forget about the countdown timer.
Me too.
What is that? Oh.
My water bottle.
It's like they trying to showcase something. I love it. This is cool. I like it. Good to be back in the seats, man.
Yeah.
Staying hydrated.
Yeah, it's already 1:45. We got some catching up to do.
Yes, we do. How you feeling, Mitch? How's that foot?
Mostly better, but it's got attitude now for the rest of its life. So, got to keep it in check these days.
Getting old, man.
Yep. Feels great.
It's not the beer, that's for sure. Speaking of, it was really cool to have Clinton check in on us today.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, out of nowhere, we just got a message from Clinton Salee over at Tanasi Brewing out in Chattanooga, and he was very hospitable and really cool spot. Have you been down to his new space yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's great, man.
Every time I've been, I've shared a little bit of beer I've had and then drink from his taps, and I've always enjoyed the beers he's got on listed there. I think he's got everything worked out of his lines that he needed to, because he had to put it all together himself again.
Mm-hmm.
What a madman! But
yeah,
it all seems to be working really well now. So yeah.
Is his new spot closer to where you are or further away?
Further away. So he found a nice little spot up in Hickson, which is about, I'm very southeast ridge, right on the border of Georgia. So for me, it's about a 20-minute at its least travel time. So with traffic, probably a half hour. Still not bad. No. But he's more Hickson kind of focused now. But hopefully his Chattanooga clients are still walking up there. Maybe not walking, but driving.
Well, and his new space is really cool too. He's got way more space to sit down inside. He's got the bar that he used to have, right? And then he's got plenty of open seating inside.
Yeah.
And then he's got the dog park around back.
Yeah, man. Big open area. Lots of seating. Dog park. Bring your furry friends, Big old tap wall. He also has and sells brewery equipment and supplies. Yeah. So it's kind of like, if you remember Craft Brewed. Gosh, I haven't even drank yet. But Craft Brewed, it's much like Craft Brewed, except instead of a tap house, it's a brewery. So Tanasi, yeah. It's a great space.
I love it, man. Clinton is awesome. Clinton is good people. Chattanooga's got some good breweries too. I know the plan is to make it down there before the kids come, and maybe we can hit up a few breweries. But I'd say let's go ahead and get this rolling, man, because we've got beer that's not getting any colder, I should say.
You are listening to the Foamy Heads Podcast, where we discuss craft beer and anything else that accompanies a glass.
That was a good pop, Mitch.
Yeah, it was.
I like that. That was a good way of doing it. Hey, Mitch and Richard back on the mics, Foamy Heads. Been a minute, man. It's been a minute. We've definitely been spending time in the community. We've been hanging out with the Brewery Underground podcast guys. We've been hitting breweries in Nashville. I've seen you slowly start making your way out in Chattanooga. And then most recently, which I want to talk about tonight, we hit Rice Vice in Nashville. Such a cool spot, dude.
Yeah, man.
Such a cool spot. I am very quickly becoming a sake fan just from all the offerings that they offer.
Dude, it's incredible. It's on the rise here. It's skyrocketing, I would say, now in Nashville. All the sake, especially Japanese cuisine, it's incredible in Nashville right now. Every time I go to Nashville, I'm eating Japanese. I'm drinking Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese at this point. So it's I really love Nashville right now.
Great culture, man. It's great culture, and Nashville is a good spot for it. I feel like Byron is kind of like one of the OGs in Nashville.
Yeah,
right?
2014, I believe, is when he opened up his shop.
Wow.
And even while he was doing all that sake stuff, he was using all that byproduct for the restaurant game that was in town. So he's been knowledgeable of both the food culture and cuisine, but drinks, and it's just all this product gets created as I'm doing the stupid politics little hand movement there. We're all getting abused by this.
Yeah, I'm tired of seeing it, man. I gotta be honest.
I saw myself on here. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
You're slowly becoming the Don, and you don't even realize it.
No, it's a sickness and illness, man.
Yeah, please get away, man.
All the news outlets are just always like, here's another picture of the orange guy. But it's insane how much he's been able to do both culinary and his hustle with the brewery side. And now he has distillation for other drinks like soju, and he's doing the contract brewing to make beer. So he's got, with Southern Grist, they're helping do lager and the IPA, both Koji Ford. Or, I guess Ford's the wrong word, but Koji's in them, and it gives them a great flavor. It's just, they're both my favorite drinks in Nashville.
Yes.
But for IPAs and a lager, but man, it's hard to say and encapsulate all your thoughts within one thing. Because I love proper sake, I love Yazoo, and there's so many other breweries and stuff. But
yeah,
I'm starting heavier tonight.
Okay, well, pop into it, man. What are we drinking? What are you starting with? You held that bottle up at the intro, and I was trying to figure out what it was.
It's probably backwards, right?
Actually, on my screen, it's not. I'm just having a hard time reading it. You're drinking. Oh, this is okay. You're going whiskey tonight.
Yeah, this is a bourbon, bourbon whiskey as they put on here, but Two Tides Brewing. I did not know two things about Two Tides, and those two things are I guess it's three. They own on one street 3 buildings, and each building has a purpose. One's a coffee roaster and coffee house. The other is the brew house, but also distillation, and they make their own liquors. They have the smallest liquor bar in Savannah.
Huh.
And
that's right, because you just came from Savannah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And their liquor bar is called Small, SMOL. So it is very small in there, but the people are rad, and they went pretty retro with it. They have VHS outlining every shelf. I'm like, everyone's loving the old world again, cassette tapes. No one goes all the way back to 8-track, but cassette tapes, vinyl, and VHS are back. But I decided to pick up their bourbon, didn't try it, just bought it. It's very sweet, and good call pulling it up.
Looking at it right quick. There's the small bar that you were referring to. Crispy Foods. I love it.
Yeah. This bourbon has a lot of kind of heat to it, though. It's hot when you drink it. It's sweet like you would want your bourbon. I'm trying to think of the right flavor profiles. Caramel. It's got some brown sugar on it. I think it might have rye because it's got a bite.
Yeah.
But, nice. And, vanilla. Vanilla's there. But the only complaint I have on it is that it kind of tastes thin.
Okay.
That's really my biggest complaint, is that it just feels thin whenever I'm drinking it.
Yeah.
But it's got a decent color to it, but it is pretty light. I mean, you can kind of see there, it looks like a light whiskey almost.
I can see it. I know you're a gin guy as well. Like, I know you've been getting into like craft gin. Where did you and I go? Was it was it Asheville that you and I went and visited that that gin spot where we were able to do like flights of gin?
Yeah, it was right next to the Funkatorium, but I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, gin's awesome. I love that juniper berry. They've got a fantastic botanical and dry gin. I feel like I should have bought the botanical one since that is where I lean more in gin. But
citrus, elderflower. Yeah, I see it all. Cucumber.
I had originally planned to buy both those gins because I am kind of getting more into the gin world. I bought Proper Sake's gin when I went to Nashville last. But go back down to that selection real quick and look at their Amaro.
So this one right here. Yeah, this is something that you've been getting into lately, right?
I've apparently always had a palate for Amaro, but I just never knew because no one tells you to seek out Amaro. So like your chartreuses and orange blossom liqueurs are typically inside like an Amaro family. But this Amaro of theirs, I haven't even opened this yet, but I bought a bunch of shots to try out their whole line of liquors. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it through them all because I was already too drunk. And I could feel my body going like, you better not. You know, I was a little full. Yeah. And I was right at that tipping point where if I shot all of this liquor, it'd be terrible. But all of that you see there, you can get $5 shots of each one for a taste.
That's great. They have their prices listed right on their website. There's the apparition that you were drinking right there.
They're not bad prices either.
That's not bad at all.
Mm-mm. The Amaro is $35. You know,
I was looking at the gins. The gins are $35 as well. That's not terrible in terms of pricing.
I didn't see their vodka, but it's vodka.
Yeah, I'm a rum guy. I'm getting into rum, and I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember the name of the rum. Whiskey and Sticks. Shout out CL Treese is now the. He's one of the official ambassadors for the rum that he's pushing now. And I showed up with to Whiskey and Sticks a few weeks back with a bottle of Bumbu rum, which is kind of like the rum that started it for me. And that was the rum that I had made the connection with CL about. And he, remember you and I were at the Burrow Bourbon and Brews place at Panther Creek. And he and I had that connection with Bumbu rum. So I showed up with it a few weeks ago, meeting up with a buddy there at Whiskey and Sticks out in Murfreesboro to have a cigar and a drink. And he was like, let me show you something else I got. And he brought out this rum. It is I wish I could remember the name of it. It is hands down the best rum that I have had in a long, long time. And it just knocked, Bumbu tasted like water after that. And no disrespect to Bumbu by any means, but like the notes in this thing, it was very compared. Mitch, you made the thin reference earlier with the bourbon. You said it was like, it had good taste. It just felt a little thin. Yeah. That's exactly how the Bumbu was in comparison to this rum that he had. It was thick, it was flavorful, covered, mouthfeel. It was perfect.
Hell yeah.
I wish I could remember the name of it, but I'm kind of getting on a rum now.
That I could not say I would ever recommend that Caribbean rum of theirs.
Okay.
I did not like it at all. I kept trying it, wanting to like it. I don't know if it was my palate with too many things or what, but as a consumer, I could not recommend it.
Man.
The white rum, however, fucking great.
Oh, I didn't even see that over here. This one. Silver, clean, crisp, hints of tropical fruits, coconut, almond, and vanilla.
Very solid rum. It's very good.
I would imagine with the Twin Palms Caribbean rum, I would imagine the clove would throw it off a little bit for me. I just don't imagine clove.
It was, for some reason, it was just so sugary. It was awful. And I don't know I couldn't tell you why I didn't like it. Maybe it's I don't know enough about rum to get into it. They say it's a heavy pot still funk and extra ripe notes of banana, coconut, pineapple.
Maybe that's one of those acquired tastes of rums that you have to get into.
Yeah, and I'm hoping I'm remembering right, but, on a clearer head, I'd buy both again since it's only like $5 for shots. Still a bit pricey. They can't just let you try it. But as long as I would try them both again before I had anything else just to make sure, But I only had the one day in town. But from when they were handed to me and I locked my gaze in on them and I tried them, that's what I remember. But yeah,
that's awesome. Did you visit any other? Did you video? Well, tell me about that one that you're drinking that because you really like that. You said the only detractor was that it was a little thinner than you were hoping it to be.
Yep, that's really it. It still hits very warm in the back of your palate until when you drink it. I haven't drank bourbon and whiskey in a while either, so this is hitting extra hard for some reason, but it's very caramel, very vanilla. There's no peppery notes to it. Super clean, sweet. It's aromatic. It's just got a good nose to it.
Hold the bottle up again. Let me see the bottle. Okay. It looks still relatively new. I mean, you must not. Was that your first drink out of the bottle tonight?
Yeah, second, but I'm keeping them pretty low.
Gotcha.
I'm not a heavy solo drinker. I usually just like to taste it, feel a little happy. But sometimes I have a little smoke, and that goes a longer way. So,
speaking of smoke, oh my gosh, I wish so this is not my first beer of the evening. I think I've been sending pictures of the last couple of beers I have. So Marble Fox started out with the Method, their double IPA. Marble Fox is self-distributing now, and Murfreesboro has opened up on the map, and they've had Marble Fox for a while, but I'm starting to see more of their beers out in distribution. So I picked up the Method tonight, the double IPA from Marble Fox. So that was great. And then moved on to, had a double decade pastry stout. But what I wanted to mention, you mentioned smoke. When I was at my local liquor store tonight, I was just perusing just to see what cigars they had. And I think I'm always going to gravitate towards like the craft cigar space. Some of the smaller offerings like CL Treese at Whiskey and Sticks offers the craft cigar. And I like going in and seeing something new that I haven't had before and trying that out. That's kind of where my bread and butter. But one of the sticks that you turned me on to way back in the day, and this is when we were in Monte Cristo, was the a very, very, very good stick that goes very well with like some spicy chicken thighs. It goes well with a heavy drink, and that is the Tabernacle.
Love it.
Yes. They didn't have the Lanceros, unfortunately. But they had some good Robusto-sized Tabernacles there, so I picked up a couple of them. One was a Sumatra wrapper. Had that tonight with a dark beer. Man, I'm telling you, it evenly burns. The smoke was great. It wasn't overly spicy. Just tons of different flavor notes, and it went perfectly with a dark beer. I loved it.
Love Tabernacles, dude. That's the cigar that's registered the most with me anywhere. Once we had those, I don't know why, but dude, it just tastes good.
I think it's I think it's the spice. Yeah. For me, it's the spice. It's not, the cigars aren't overly complicated, but they've got tons of different flavor notes from the start all the way to the end. I honestly don't remember the flavors changing all that much from the first third all the way down to the last third. Like, it's just a consistent cigar every time, going all the way from the beginning all the way to the end of the smoke. And it goes great. I'm drinking well, this is no surprise, and I know the Brewery Underground guys will definitely have a good time with this one, but I am drinking a KBS tonight from Founders. I always seem to get myself in trouble with those.
You keep getting them, man. It's like every time we have a beer thing, you're like, I'm on that KBS.
I'm on that KBS.
Yeah, man, keep it up.
I love going for the variants. I think the chocolate espresso is my favorite. They didn't have that. It's not KBS season right now. Like it's getting hot, it's getting warm. It is not KBS season, so the variants have died on. You can't find them very much anymore. But they had the regular KBS still left over from the seasonal, so I picked up a 4-pack of that. But man, it's turning into crispy boy Pilsner season, pales and outside beers, and whatever it is that you're pouring there seems like it's a little light as well.
Yeah.
Is this what is that sock? No. What is that? Because I've got I saw some foamy head coming up there. What is that?
Yeah. I've been trying to slow drip it in, but I've got a Yazoo beer here.
So is that Embrace the Funk?
Yeah. While I was in town, I had a few orders I had to pick up. And this is Commander Gerald. He is let me get you out of my crotch there.
Yeah.
Commander Gerald. Got a little mouse on the front. And this is a small but mighty, a blend of oak-aged blonde ale infused with a hint of nostalgia. This cosmic brew combines Pilsen, wheat, oats, and spelt with the bright, zesty touch of a classic orange drink powder. A blast of citrus aroma comes from the dry hopping with Comet and Galaxy hops. It got some tang in it.
Galaxy hops are great. Here we go. Yeah, hey, not bad price. $7. That's Dude, not bad at all.
Yazoo's prices are incredible, man. Yeah.
Available for pickup only at the tap room during normal business. Hey, man, I'm going to tell you one thing. There's a couple of pictures of it. Yeah, look at him go. Look at Commander Gerald right there.
Yeah.
Doing his thing. I will say there is not a... sour beers, we have this conversation every time. Sour beers are not particularly my thing. Embrace the Funk can go anywhere from mild and pleasant all the way up to funky and just germy and sour and tart, and it hurts your mouth and just has all kinds of flavors that I don't like. But I feel like the last few that I've had from Embrace the Funk have been very pleasant. That one looks kind of like, it looks very, very refreshing.
It's very nice. I'm curious about the mighty part. I don't know what ABV I'm getting into, but
it's not showing it on the website.
And I don't think I missed it, but I'll check again. It might be in my email. But very tasty. It does have those citrus notes that is mentioned in the description, but they're not like overly orange citrus or tangy,
Yeah.
But it looks hops great. Are nice.
And this is where I struggle with Embrace the Funk beers, because beers like these are not, I mean, tell me otherwise, but beers like this are typically more refreshing and crispier, and they're not funky per se. They're a little tart.
Yeah.
And but they're not those like rip your face off type beers where
they're not warheads.
No.
These are way more in the refreshing category, like Saison, where that's like the Tennessee staple beer for the humidity we get, the seasons. We should technically be just rocking out Saisons here in Tennessee, but I don't know why, but grisettes, Saisons, and similar styles have really grabbed at me after that whole Pilsner year of mine that really kicked me back off into like lighter beers. But Brandon's got the luck on these Saisons, fermented ales, and the funk, man. He knows how to control this funk. And when you're in a funk, you want to embrace it.
Embrace the funk. That one took a second to land. I don't know why. I should have caught that one immediately.
But they're just damn good, man.
Yeah, they're super good. When we did the collab episode at Fate La Force, you brought a few of the Embrace the Funk. I'm trying to remember. You brought like a chapter 1 and a chapter 2.
Oh yeah.
Those were
Future Nostalgia.
Future Nostalgia. Thank you. Those were really good. and it was hot outside, and it just worked for the space. It just really worked. I think I'm liking those more than the kettle sours that I seem to have as well, because kettle sours, kind of seem to be like they're sour beers for sure, but they don't have that refreshing aspect of something like the Future Nostalgia does, or that the Commander Gerald looks like it has. I could be wrong, but that looked like a very refreshing, like crispy, warm weather, especially spring, kind of like moving into summer beers. And you're right. You called it out a second ago. You've been doing like this thing where like you went really hoppy for a while, right? And then from IPAs and dankness, you never really got too much into like New England style hazies. I don't think. I think you were always kind of more on like the dank IPA sides.
I like the West Coast more. the hazies, I could do a couple, but after you get 2 pints of those, you start feeling a lot heavier.
Yep.
So I get one maybe, and I enjoy it. It's like pulpy orange juice, but for an IPA.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy them, but it's a one and done nowadays typically for me, unless there's just so many I have to try. Then I will get the smaller pours and just
the flights
back to back.
Yeah. Well, then you moved on from, like you started there, and then you went to the Pilsners, and then that was when I was entering my IPA phase. So I seem to be one style behind you, because I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but like you were doing I feel like you were doing IPAs before I was doing IPAs, but then we were both doing IPAs. You got into Pilsners, and I was still on the IPA train. And then I started getting into Pilsners because you got me into those. And then I've been
all with the thanks of dry hops.
Yeah, it works. And honestly, I think I have Smith and Lentz to thank for that.
Same here. Yeah. They brought me back into the lager fold, other than like the classic staples of imported lagers that just have a classic taste to them. But
putting a spin on it, putting the hoppy spin on hopped Pilsners, which is, it's been a thing, but it's never been something that I've seen widely, available up until recently. But, it was definitely Smith and Lentz, and you got me onto that. And then I stayed on that train for a while, and you started moving on to like, you've always liked the embrace the funk beers. We've heard the story multiple times about you bringing the funk beer to my New Year's Eve party way back to the end. But I feel like recently within the last year or so, you've moved on to more of like the the saisons and the grisettes, like the farmhouse ale style beers.
Yeah, I love flavor, and these have tons of it, and they're different. There's a lot of room to play, it seems, and I don't know enough of that brewery world to really talk knowledgeably about it. We need to talk to Brandon and let him kind of give us the lay of the land of how he kind of puts it together. But we've both diversified our portfolios.
Right there.
Hell yeah.
And then, I wouldn't say I'm getting into those because I'm not actively seeking those out yet. But I'm definitely like, I'm no longer, and you've seen me kind of evolve over time. I've gotten more open and accepting of sour beers. And I don't ever think that'll be just like the style I go to on a daily basis. I have heartburn enough as it is. But just the crispy, light grisettes and the saisons that you're drinking was really good. There was another one. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It might have been that high cotton black peppercorn saison from back in the day.
Yeah.
I tried that, and I thought that was really tasty. And I honestly don't remember what that tastes like anymore.
It's been such a long time now. I don't even know if they've made it, if they're still open, but yeah, they had this. Yeah, you were right. I don't know if they called it cracked or just black peppercorn, but it was awesome. Hey, their site's still on, so that's a good sign. But I haven't had any other beers because it's been such a long time, and Memphis is a ways away. But yeah, they had that saison
that's a great name.
Loaded black pepper. Malt wit. Nice.
I don't see it. Now that doesn't mean that these could be just like their core beers, right? Mexican lager, Scottish ale. I'm wondering if there's a way. I don't see it.
Without maybe doing a page-sitemap.xml, maybe there's an old page stashed away, but I found a few beers that way, you know.
High Cotton offers a black peppercorn saison, a variation of their regular saison, unique flavor profile, spicy peppery flavor. Yeah, of course, this is generative AI, so I have no idea where they're pulling this from.
Yeah, they're just kind of like, you wanted this information. Here you go.
Yeah, most likely they're just listening to our conversation right here. Yeah.
They've got their own black pepper, their seasoning. It's
just peppering it on, right?
There you go. There you go.
See, I'm learning, man. I'm learning.
They are seasoning their text.
I see here's Beer Fandoms. So here's their saison. I don't think this is their black peppercorn one though.
But yeah, that thing was awesome. Dude,
when was that?
It's the what?
When was that? I want to say that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, probably. I don't think we were talking beer when I had it. I don't know.
Nope, foamy heads weren't a thing at the time.
Yeah, so it's probably been a decade. Yeah,
I just remember you bringing it over. And me really, really enjoying it. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. So it was awesome. Hella tasty.
Yeah. Oh, let's circle back to the proper sake thing.
Yes. Rice Vice, Byron. Shout out Byron. That dude's a genius, man.
He's a pleasure to talk to, too.
Yeah, he's so fun. He was our second guest on the show, only to supersede from Living Waters.
Ryan.
Yeah. And then Byron was next. I remember talking to you about that. I was like, man, I don't know. And you're like, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I'm like, I just don't know sake. I don't know anything. Like, I don't know anything about it. And I want to say that was one of the most fun conversations that I had. He sat down on this floor with his AirPods, and I remember it clear as day. He sat down on the floor with his AirPods in. He was just drinking sake. We just had like a good ass conversation.
Yes.
And he was super knowledgeable.
Yeah, and I've listened to that episode twice, I think, or maybe more. It's whenever I need a reminder of how bad I was with sake. And there was some drinks I was talking about, like the Drunken Red Snapper, that I got completely wrong, and you could see that he was just like, yeah, and he would divert into like educating like what the style of sakes are that we were trying to talk about, rather than like correct me or anything.
He was nice about it, man. He was nice about it.
He's an educator. He's super polite. He's able to just kind of take the conversation and make it into something. So it was awesome.
And so what's he doing now? I mean, like, obviously he has Rice Vice, and it's a place for him to be able to sell not only his sakes, but, you know, the side projects that he's doing with the beer as well. Because I'm a big fan of Koji Gold, especially since, and no offense to the previous brewer, but since Southern Grist took over, the contract space with Koji Gold, like, it's next level. We were at Rice Vice a couple of weeks ago, and we had a sake flight. I think you had quite a bit more before I showed up. And then we finished off with a Koji Gold. And it was like, that was like the beer to finish off a night like that.
Dude, it's such a crisp and flavorful drink, especially, no beer before liquor kind of concept, but finishing it out with the Koji Gold is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's so chilled and so cool. And it's a dry lager, but that Koji adds a whole nother level of flavor that makes that lager even better.
Yeah.
They have the IPA for an IPA guy if you're feeling more,
Yeah, I've had it. the Koji. I think is it Koji King Koji.
You got it. Yeah,
Koji King IPA. Yeah, that was really good. Matter of fact, you shared that with me when we went to another brewery. I won't name the names because I don't know if we're allowed to just talk about bringing in beers as we're sitting at the bar of another brewery. Right. But
we're sharing it with staff, and it's educating all of us.
Yeah, it was a good time. But needless to say, that opened many dours for us. But that Koji
blew
King,
the socks off of everybody.
Yeah, it was just you showed up rolling like multiple bottles of sake, and you even had some of the Koji Gold and the King Koji or Koji King IPA, and that one was unique to me because I've never been able to pick out Koji flavor before. I just know that I like it. Mm-hmm. Right, Southern Grist has. They have a small plate for chicken thighs, and I think it's marinated in Koji first, right? Or it's bread or something. It's got something in the breading, the Koji in the breading.
They throw the Koji on it.
Yeah. And so it was good. But that Koji King is the first time I ever took a sip of a beer and I go, oh, so I think this is what it's supposed to taste like. Because I think it was a little bit more prominent in that one, to me, than it was in the Koji Gold.
Yeah, it's way more prevalent in the IPA. I could not tell you why. I don't know what the brewing process is like with Koji. I know you can marinate things with Koji and like sauces. You just add it to it. Basically, it's just a really good mold to add flavor to any kind of dish that you want. Mm-hmm. There's different ways to bring it in, and just, I'm not a chef. I haven't practiced it in my kitchen yet, but I'm close to wanting to just make Koji at home. But dang, that's awesome.
I'm trying
people aren't reviewing it the way I'd review it, but that's Untapped. He's got a good score for Untapped.
Yeah, we can go there, but I have seen worse beers with higher ratings than what he has for Koji King. Yeah. I honestly think Koji King is a much better rating than that. Mm-hmm. Unless it's possible that I'm just not looking at the right one. No.
Yeah, it's just Untapped's pretty on top of dupes.
Yeah, it feels like 125 total check-ins is small for a beer like that.
The biggest problem I've got with Proper is that they're not pushing their message with beer at all. It's just in the tap room and then in your stores. Mm-hmm. That's kind of it. There's no buzz about it. There's no hype, Craft beer heads like we were years ago. If he had this beer 7 years ago, mm-hmm. he probably would have had more of a buzz because people at that time were having that FOMO more often, more frequently, especially into the pandemic. If he had said, I've got an IPA that you can't get anywhere else, people would line up. So, but he doesn't talk or advertise much about his product line, as far as I know. Proper Sake, if you're listening to this, is still a hidden gem that isn't overrun or oversaturated by, what's the word you call patrons? Patrons.
Yeah.
It's like clients, but not clients. Patrons.
It should be.
But yeah.
But it should be, though. That's the thing. Like, it's you want to talk about a guy that's been grinding it out for years. And I love to see it, and I hate to see it. The fact that I always have a spot at the bar when I walk into Rice Vice just because it needs to be busier than it is. And I've only been a few times, and it's only been with you, honestly, and we'll show up like a few weeks ago when we showed up and they were doing they had small plates, and
that was an incredible night. Foxton Izakaya.
Foxton.
Yeah. Really good people. Amazing chef and photographer. They were killing it, dude. They were rocking that food station and just sending all sorts of food on a stick.
Yep. Corn on the cob, pork belly. Yeah. So good.
There's, I can't describe the flavors we had that night, and it goes with sake and beer so well. I love it when they do the grill stuff. They primarily do ramen, and they're there every weekend now at Proper Sake.
Really, Foxden is there every weekend at okay, so that's for me. That's another reason to go back then because I love the sake that Byron puts out. But I always want something to eat if I'm having because to me sake is even though it's like crisp, it's like lighter on the palate than something like maybe like a 12% KBS or whatever. But like,
dude, yeah,
I always feel like I need something to eat with it because I mean, sake can originate anywhere from 15% up, right? Like it can get pretty heavy, but it's easy enough to drink multiple glasses of. But I always feel like I need something to eat when I'm having sake.
I'm the same way. I like having that food with it. So they do ramen mostly, and they're open every Friday and Saturday, 6 to 11 p.m.
With Foxden?
Mm-hmm. At Rice Vice.
At Rice Vice, yeah. And are they always doing those same style small plates, or is it just normally ramen?
Ramen, but they alternate what kind of ramen every week to week. So today, or this weekend, this Friday, you get udon carbonara. If you know what carbonara is, it usually includes cheese. And they have, let me see if they put a description here. Deer Creek, whoa, okay. So they got several things other than ramen. Deer Creek oysters. That's going to be badass. I know you're not a seafood guy, though, right?
No.
But I bet you they'd change your mind. But tangy and sweet hot sauce, horseradish oil, and lemon for those oysters. Udon carbonara is a handmade black pepper udon noodle. Roasted garlic and Parmesan creme. Onsen egg, if you like boiled eggs and seasoned. Butter poached garlic, tons of Parmesan. Smoked bacon lardons. That's going to be badass. Black pepper compound butter. Bacon and white truffle oil. They also include a Basque cheesecake. Vanilla-infused crustless burnt cheesecake, black sugar, buttermilk, caramel sauce. Oh, dude. But that udon carbonara is going to be badass. I'm telling you right now.
And that's this weekend? Because I'm seeing it looks like, yeah, I guess so.
So that is their just storefront. You'll want to just go to that first post. Yeah.
Boom.
And, sorry, is it not the first?
Not
second
the first post.
Yeah. That's the food one right there. You can see Rice Vice in the top left corner. But that's their menu. They just kind of use social media as their anchor. I think, I don't know if they got a web guy or not, but it's way easier just to do a post about it.
I love that udon carbonara sounds really good.
Yeah, dude. That's what I would go for sure. The oysters secondary, but if you like oysters, you got to get them.
I'm not big on horseradish either, so like that's for me. That's
the double.
Yeah, no, I don't even want to say strike 1 and 2 because that's showing disrespect to just a food that I don't go for. But like the udon carbonara looks really good.
Unfortunately for them too. Unfortunately for them too, I don't know if they still got their GoFundMe up or not, but Nashville, as Nashville is traffic-wise, they got involved in a hit and run. So, it demolished their car, whatever hit them. So I sent money to them on the GoFundMe. So they'll use any support you can give them right now. If you like ramen, you really don't want to lose these guys.
No.
We've got Black Dynasty, Otaku. We've got all these other food holes like there's one that's a hot chicken guy. I don't know if you've had them. I keep meaning to take you there. It's a Subculture. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it.
Pablo, who runs Subculture, owns it. He does a killer hot chicken ramen.
I would go for that any day of the week.
Yeah, it's right. I don't know. Maybe it's like 5 blocks down from K&S or something, South Nashville. But yeah, I'm forgetting because it's been over a year and change since I've been over there. But
I went ahead and
Nashville.
changed. I went ahead and changed you, Mitch. Your sake took my money now.
It did, and it does. I'm going to get another beer. But
go for it.
That sake night was incredible because it also had reps from all around. The beer is making me burp. There's sake reps from all around. Portland, New York, all over. They came to share. Even Japan. We had all sorts of people there that night. So not only was it a night that opened up on a regular evening where they aren't open, it filled out. So there's definitely a presence in people who are aware of that restaurant, but man, or that bar, but it was nuts, man.
Yeah, it was so good. I remember doing, when I showed up there, they had sake flights, and it was basically boiled down to, you had different styles of flight. I think I got the juicy flight just because for me, like in my head, that resembles like juicy IPAs or something like that. But like the sake was just unbelievable. And I can't remember which ones I had, but I believe there were 4 of them in my flight. Yeah. And every single one of them were so good. And was all of those were from the different sake breweries around? Okay. That's what I thought. I didn't get too much into the background of what was going on that night. I just knew you were in town for the first time in a while. And where else are you going to be? You're going to be at Rice Vice when you're showing up. Like you have a very good tendency to support all the breweries along the way. So you'll hit, I don't think you're able to hit Common John that morning just because it was on a day that they were closed, I think.
I think so, yeah.
You always tend to hit, I think you hit Yazoo so you could pick up your stuff, and so you paid some homage to Yazoo, and then you hit a couple of spots along the way, and then you ended up at Rice Vice, and I think I ended up meeting up with you around like 8 or 8:30 that night, and it was just like, man, the sake was good. There was a lot of people there when I showed up, but we were able to get spots at the bar, and we're able to just have a good time.
It was awesome. Made 2 friends, too. One guy also grew up in the same city that I did around Nashville.
I love it.
And we were like, what the fuck? We're sitting next to each other? And
that's
we're both
awesome.
From Mount Juliet? What?
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. And that's the community, man, because, people tend to, if they gravitate toward beer, they gravitate towards sake, and then they want to start learning everything about it. And then they start realizing there's people in those groups that just like stick with each other. What the hell did you just change to? You're on a roll tonight. You started out with bourbon whiskey, and then you moved to was that another Yazoo?
Yeah, this is. Yeah.
I recognize the green bottle that comes in the ETF beers.
Yeah. That night was incredible. Loved it. And it was even more of a joy that I got to see you and hang out. And that beer, or that sake and the final beer, just perfect evening. I couldn't tell you which flight you got either. I don't recall what you ordered, but Namazake Paul had a 4 sake flight. The Sake Ninja, Chris Johnson, I believe, he was there, and he had a 4 sake kind of flight thing. Byron, of course, had his sakes available for some pours, and he had a few imports that I think might have been included that's at his shop. And then I forget her name because I'm still learning it, but there was another importer that was there who's from Japan, and she was telling us about her who she represents. I think it was World Sake Imports was 2 of the reps, Namazake Paul and then Proper Sake. But could be wrong, but they were also facilitating a class final at that shop that day. So there were some people in very, I don't know what you call it, corporate, but it's not corporate, but they were in black tie attire basically, or just office attire. There was a black tie. They were in suits and they had a pen and all this stuff. So anyway, they were taking tests and passing courses. So then we got to sample some of those sakes as well. So that was nice.
I'm looking on Proper Sake's website to see, because their Instagram page doesn't have the menu from what it might have been like a story or something like that from when they were having it. But their website is extremely colorful. Extremely colorful.
The website doesn't do much justice, in my opinion. It's cool, but it's just not.
I can't. None of their links are clickable.
Yeah, no. Some of them look like they're not clickable and are too. Doesn't help us any online.
No, here's a buy sake link right here. Here's another buy sake. This one's like off-centered. This one's in the middle. But like I can't see. It won't let me click on anything. I can add these bottles to the cart. Yeah, it's just not.
So I do have one picture of the menu here. Proper Sake had the flagship collection, the Diplomat, Cloud Palace, Soft Power. And then he had the Nihonshu, and that's where it got more into distributor. Jumai, Daiginjo, Junmai, and Yamaha. One was from Gunma. And then the WoW, and I took a picture with the light right on it. I can't read what it is exactly.
You're right. But I ended up doing the same thing. I took a picture of it.
Oh, yeah. You might have one that doesn't have the light glare on it, because I took this when I was drunk. But the first three are absolutely... actually, the first four all might be... No, Proper Sake, then the third and fourth are all Proper Sake listed things, I think, because he has those on site.
There was one called the Juicy, which was the flight that I got.
That was Paul, Namazake Paul's. But
that's
it's not
like
like
going with.
I'm calling them that thing, but that's not all their sake. But the Juicy is because of the Ryoko juice, which Namazake Paul is sporting.
I see.
And then Proper Sake stuck one of their Yamaha in there because it's also juicy. And then Junmai Ginza from Seitoku Trapeza, and that's probably one of the other two reps sticking that in. So it's all a mixture, but you can kind of tell like who's behind the like sake that kicks it off. So
yeah, I'm looking. I'm looking through my phone. I'm looking down at my phone right now. I don't see where I took a picture of it. So I must not have taken a picture of the menu.
There's some special sakes there that night too, called Macho, that the labels kill me on it. It's just like a mustached guy with a shirt off, and he's posed like this. It's just goofy, but yeah, I was really excited to be able to taste one of those. And it's weird. A lot of these Omachi heirloom grain sakes are banana forward because of the yeast they're using. It's real popular to get a Hefeweizen like sake with Omachi grain for some reason, but it doesn't hit you with banana, but it hits you with the similar flavor profile of a banana Hefeweizen. Weird, but it's not like loads of banana. But it tastes good. I'm not a Hefeweizen guy, but I love whatever they're doing yeast-wise with those sakes. So.
I do like, I'm with you. I like the, I'm not a big Hefeweizen fan. I don't like that banana yeasty flavor that goes with the, I don't like the banana yeasty flavor that goes with Hefeweizens. I do like, I'm trying to think if it would go well with sake. I feel like I wouldn't go with it for sake either. But that could be just me. I don't know. I've never had it, so I don't know. I can't. Maybe I have. Have I had it and I just don't realize it? Maybe.
I can't remember. I did have. I think I finished the bottle before we met up, though. But I did have a Omachi grain that had a secret yeast that was being used in it, and it was very much that. It hooked me. Like, I wouldn't expect it to.
Nice.
So if I ever see Omachi, I'm typically grabbing the bottle in the hopes that they're using a experimental yeast or one of these new yeasts that do have those profiles in them. But there's some yeast from like flowers that are being used, and they're still experimenting with what flowers and everything that give this flavor profile. but it gives you a cutting edge in competitions, basically. So it's just wild. I don't know, much about how you win with a sake, much less a beer. But
sake is It's interesting because sake is, at least here in Tennessee and probably even in the States, but it's obviously much more common in other countries, and it's just now finally you hit the nail on the head when we met up there at Rice Wise a few weeks ago. It's like America's just like, all I want is just overkill everything, like overdo everything.
Yeah.
And sake is more of just like, you have a drink and you split a bottle with friends, and it's like the complete antithesis of what the American mindset is.
Yeah.
But it's just now becoming, I feel, more popular. But that being said, sake still has a lot of room to experiment and grow. Craft beer is there, but like, we've already exhausted all of the natural variants that are out there. We're having to make more. Like, they're having to experiment and come up with their own hops. They're trying to come up with new styles of beer, because every style of beer has just about already been made. But sake, you're still getting new things based on what's already out there without you even having to make up your own flavor profile.
Yeah, they're still able to mess with it. And you know what America did to beer with the craft beer, where they're just adjuncting the shit out of it.
Yep.
It hasn't happened quite yet with sake, but American sake breweries I'm going to say Ben's in
Asheville.
Yep. And even in Lexington, the Void, they are doing adjuncts with their base profile sake, like Junmai's and whatnot. Orange Sickle, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Very tasty. But I wouldn't say it was like the epitome of sake or anything. It's just
those might
really
be more like gateway
dessert.
drug. They might be like gateway sakes into the world. I
think
think
really are.
I think back to our episode at the Craft Brewers Conference when we were hanging out with the people from the Duchess and St. Bernardus, and they had these very pure sour beers, and this process of you don't eat food X amount of days before the tasting the beer and everything, and we're like, hey, you want to try this double imperial stout with Oreos and cookies and fudge and coffee in it? And they're just taking a sip and they're like, this is something else, that's for sure. And it was just, that's all they had to offer it. And it was just well, this is different. And it's just the American way of just going over, but we like it. I thought it was great. The Panther Creek collab Donut Country stout that did was really good, and the 24K that had a ton of carrot cake adjuncts in it. And it was just that's the American way of doing things. For us, it's good, but other countries, it's just it's not pure anymore.
Yeah, there's what are those fish crackers called?
Oyster crackers?
No, fish. They're shaped like goldfish.
Oh, goldfish?
Are they just goldfish?
Yeah, they're just goldfish.
Well, all right then. Europe beers are always like goldfish. They're very balanced with their cheddar.
What the fuck was this?
But America's yeah, well, I'm gonna flavor blast it. That's how I kind of see American beer. It's just yeah, we'll pay homage from time to time to balance, but then we're just I'm going to fuck this beer up. It's a coffee stout base, okay? But check this out. I'm going to adjunct it with a shit ton of Oreos. I'm going to throw some orange juice in it, and then we're going to rest it on a barrel-aged Blanton's for about 8 months. Then we're going to put it in a rye barrel for another 6 months, and then we'll finish it in a rum barrel for another 4. We just fuck with it and just
we
make
do all
it
kinds
into
of
this
stuff.
Monstrosity, and it works sometimes, but it's just
experimentation.
You give that to professional sales force people from the UK, and they're just gonna be like, "It's something." Right? Yeah, we know it's something. That's for sure. It's nuts.
That's so funny.
They were super fun.
It was such a good time, and I don't know why this is coming to my head. It's just I'm completely taking a left turn from our conversation, but it hit my brain departments when we were talking about Rice Vice. When you gave me like I showed up there that night and you gave me like a gift of like cool stuff from Chattanooga, and it had like seasonings which I haven't used yet.
Oh yeah.
I have used all of that barbecue sauce from Hoff and Pepper. It was amazing, and unfortunately we have seen better days from those guys because they are shuttering their operations. Yeah. And rest in peace to Hoff and Pepper, because their ghost pepper hot sauce is one of my favorites. Their barbecue sauce is one of my favorites. Their ghost pepper ketchup, I don't even like ketchup.
I don't either.
And I put that on burgers. I dip my French fries in it. It's just so good. And it's unfortunate that a company that has so much innovation and that was doing so well in terms of like unique flavors couldn't weather the storm another year.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get harder, unfortunately. Yeah. I feel like tough times is ahead for everybody.
Big time. Like, video game consoles are increasing in prices for the first time in like ever. Mm-hmm. And not for good reasons.
No.
But I don't want to imagine what's going to happen to sake as well, or any other imports. They're just going to get crushed by this shit. And, we already hurt enough to buy the beer we do.
Yep.
And I don't know what's going to happen for all of this local business. Any small business, any local business. It's not a good time.
It's, money's not cheap right now.
Nope.
So borrowing money is not cheap. Prices everywhere are going up. I only wonder about people like Byron and people that are making quality products using ingredients that they have to import. How this is going to hit their business.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to pass the price on to consumers, but like they have to pay for this stuff.
Yeah.
At the beginning, before they can even pass it on, like some of these guys are getting trucks of stuff and they're having to pay 50, 70, 100% more than what they were expecting to when they ordered it months ago. And like, can some of them even do that anymore? I don't know. Assuming you're big enough to be able to do it, then they pass it on to the consumer because they're not going to eat that cost.
Mm-mm.
But we're gonna have to, and aluminum cans. That's another thing. Like, there's going to be aluminum can pricing is going to start going up. People moved away from bottles and they moved to cans because it was cheaper. Yeah. But now that aluminum cans are going to get hit with that tariff increase as well. Like, how are some of these small breweries are they going to act? How are they going to be able to do this?
If they haven't overstretched themselves, I would assume they would just stop distro and focus on local. But that's another heavy.
That's a very big revenue stream that you're cutting out of your business. The only way breweries are able to, take Tailgate out of the picture because they're very good with just opening up spots and distribution and stuff. But like, if you're taking, they have food with very high margins, $30 pizzas and whatnot. But like, even if you just take a craft brewery that is trying to expand, like, the only way some of these guys are making it right now is because of distribution. Like, it's not high margin for them, but it's revenue, and they're able to bring in,
keeps them level.
Yep. But how's that going to work going forward? I don't know.
It's all based on support, but if people can't pay the increased prices, then there's no way a company's going to stay afloat with that.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm not a businessman right now, but it sucks.
Well, I won't get political, but it doesn't feel like we're being run by a good business right now in this country either. So
I don't think
you're not alone in that aspect. No.
He had good lawyers.
Yeah, that's for sure. Maybe that's what we need, is just good lawyers.
Good lawyers that don't want to rob the system.
Don't want to tell the truth. I don't want to overshadow. We're an hour into this thing already, which is nuts. But I do want to talk about the beer that you're drinking drinking right now, because you hinted at it a little bit. Then we kind of like ADD'd over to something else.
as we are like to do. There's so much to talk about, but this is another Embrace the Funk that I picked up, Balaton Bite. And I got excited seeing Balaton because Balaton cherries, whether it's a sour, whether it's a 28% ABV beer, some way or another, they always seem to add like a nice calming like hit to somehow reduce bitterness, reduce the hit of how alcoholic a drink can be. I don't get it. It's magic as far as I'm concerned. But this is a Balaton Cherry Embrace the Funk. It is tart. It's a blend of one season-aged, spontaneously fermented oak-aged ale and red saison, conditioned on freshly picked Balaton cherries with a bold tart flavor and bright burgundy color. Delicious. It's very good. It's very tart. This would go into your palate of like a kettle sour, but it's
okay.
But it's a little more punchier than that. But it just mellows out. So it hits you kind of hard, and it mellows really, really well out. So it's kind of dry at the end, I want to say. Let me check again.
Looks like 6.3% ABV, 16 IBUs.
God, it's good. Yeah, there's a little bit of dryness right at the end that makes you thirst for more.
Is this something relatively new? I feel like this is one of the most recent pickups that you had, because just looking at Untappd right now, there's not very many check-ins on it.
Yeah.
Not even enough to have a rating right now.
I should check it in, huh?
Maybe you could be the one that finally shows the average rating.
That's wild. What the heck?
It's not enough people to be able to determine it. Well, I'm sure it is, but they won't show a rating until so many people check it in.
Interesting. I wonder what that minimum is. But yeah, if you are a line hopper, is what they're called, you get first dibs and emails from a newsletter telling you about these. And you can just buy however many you want typically. So I always typically get to one to have myself, one to share. But almost every beer that Brandon releases through this program that he does, I wish I had bought like 6 of them. They're always so good, and everybody will always love them. So far.
I feel like this was a limited release. It had to have been, because like the last check-in was April 6th, and there's only been like 11 people checking in this beer. It must have been super small release.
It might have been. I'd have to look at my email for sure. So I always try to grab 2 at least so I could try it, then share it. Because if I really like it, then I'm going to really want to share it. But I'll check my email real quick. Did you get to another beer?
I didn't. This is actually, I think, the only one I'm going to have tonight. I mean, I've had...
it's heavy.
it is heavy. I'm
heavy.
It's a 12% beer. KBS is kind of like for me, it's one of the standards for a higher gravity, imperial stout. I should say higher gravity. It's more on the low end for something, considering, breweries around Nashville are releasing, the Tennessee 10 beers, which is typically higher than 10.1, but Founders KBS sits in at 12%. But it's one of those beers where, we've done this multiple times when we had, Scott and Steve on from the Brewery Underground podcast, and we were doing, and even a couple of times before that where I was drinking 2 KBSs and then finishing it off with an IPA. Like, that was just a rough morning. And so I've kind of been just cruise drinking for most of the afternoon, starting out light and then moving towards heavy. And then by the time you and I got on to start recording, it's just like I'm at a good spot where I'm just having the one and I'm finishing with this one.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm done with this one for sure. Did
you find the email on the Balaton? What was it called? Balaton?
Balaton Bite. And yeah, it's very cherry forward, very tasty. And the cherries were picked in Michigan and Nashville within 24 hours of production.
Wow.
So it's very good. Only 84 bottles were created, so they are sold out.
Ah.
And it was a very limited release. So
84,
right
that's
along.
nowhere enough to service even the smallest of like unique beer population in Nashville. Like if you weren't, I'm guessing if you weren't there on the day of release, you probably didn't get any.
I guess,
or at least ordered it on day of release.
Yeah.
Because I think you had yours held.
Yeah, I had mine held. I think Yazoo may sneak any leftovers into their fridge or cooler for people to pick up on site. But
yeah,
I mean, I forget how many line hoppers right now, but they typically buy it out. So
yeah.
How much is only 84?
How much is a line hopper subscription? I feel like it's a yearly membership thing, right?
It is yearly.
It's probably something stupid. Yeah. Okay.
Very cheap.
And it gives you just what? Access to beers early? That's all it is?
Pre-sale, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I will say that we are really into a very fortunate year right now as a line hopper at Yazoo, but I can't extrapolate further, all of that.
Gotcha.
But if you're a fan of some import beers, there's something big that's going to happen.
Ooh, okay. I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I may still have a bourbon Jack and Sally. That was a Halloween beer. It was delicious. A dark ale. I love dark ales. Porter. And they aged it in a single bourbon barrel. Open ferment with English ale yeast. It was awesome. I shared the first one with Clinton. And
okay.
He was just like, "What the fuck? That's great." Everybody behind the bar loved it. It's like, man, Yazoo's killing it. Brandon, he's a whole nother level.
84 bottles. 84
really?
Bottles. Yep.
He has a thing for the 84 bottle limited release then.
I guess so. Impressions of warming spirits, coffee, caramel, oak, vanilla. A dark ale loosely based on an imperial roasted porter aged in single bourbon barrels, fermented with English ale yeast and finished with a single saison yeast.
It's awesome. It's like a cocktail beer.
It's giving kind of giving I can see the Jack and Sally, like the logo on the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of gives like a Nightmare Before Christmas like kind of vibe to it.
It does.
That's pretty cool.
Oh no! The workday and beer hitting. The volume 3 and volume 4 of that Future Nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
I found my email about that. Volume 3, which I've got still. I think I've got 2 of each of these still. Belgian blonde ale brewed with Seashore Oblak rye, Talus hops, and carrot blossom honey. And the 4th one is a golden ale brewed with buckwheat, centennial hops, and Washington State fireweed honey, fermented with a single Nashville yeast strain. So more flavor bombs right here, Just
you said you think you still have 3 and 4?
Yeah,
I would love to be able to be a part of that, just because I've had 1 and 2.
Yeah, I'm holding on to stuff because I know we're going to talk and share at some point.
Yeah.
I've got a stock of old stouts that I'm definitely taking with me to a friend in the Blue Ridge Mountains that we're going to share some of, like a Rheingeist probably or something. But we can get those anywhere, anytime. These are aged. They're only going to get worse, so I've got to take them somewhere. But
maybe not. If it's high enough alcohol, it should be okay. But I have no idea what beers you're bringing, so they may be on a time limit, Mitch.
The volume 3 and 4 are definitely on a time limit. They're in the fridge. They're staying cool, so hopefully we'll get how they should taste.
Okay.
If we Chattanooga or Nashville, whichever happens first, we'll break them out. We'll share them with breweries around town, wherever we go, and just make a thing out of it too. But we'll try to record a bit of the way.
I'm excited, man, and some good beers tonight too. I only had the one. I mean, I had 1, 2, 3 of them or whatever before we hit record, but I'm feeling good. You had a bourbon, and then you ended up having 2 sours. I think you had 2 sours. 2 Embrace the Funks plus the bourbon. That was a good time.
Mm-hmm. It was awesome. I thought I was going to get to a third, but I don't need it.
Man, hey, that's on you. You're welcome to have it.
It's late. I'm not going to do it.
It's a good time. I'm glad you're feeling better, Mitch. It's good to be back in. It's good to be back with the headsets on and recording. And I'm excited for. I mean, it's May already, unfortunately. But what are you going to do? It's just there's a lot.
Hey, when's your double IPAs scheduled to release?
So the double IPAs are supposed to release. This is good. That's what we're going to call them. I like that. The double IPAs are supposed to be born. The delivery date for the Twin Girls is June 28th, but they will not let my wife go that long. If Rachel's still pregnant at the end of May, they're probably going to schedule a release date for like the first or second week in June.
A sea drop.
That's right. So
trying to hype it up.
Yeah, no line hopper here. They're coming and they're mine, whether or not I paid for them. They're coming to me.
You done pre-ordered that shit?
I pre-ordered that a long time ago, man. Many months.
Now you get all the bonuses that come along with it from the American healthcare system. Congratulations.
Right, exactly. Yeah, whatever bonuses I'm getting out of that, I'm going to pay back in with all other kinds of ingredients that I got to pay up front for.
That's right. Hey, at least you're not importing them.
That's true. Although they're going to be expensive enough.
Yeah. Oh, that's wild, dude. That is wild.
But I'm excited.
All right. Well, I'll have to see you in May, one way or the other.
Yeah, it's going to happen. And this was a good time tonight. I got 1 sip left, and looks like you got a couple sips left. So we ended up right at a good time. So,
hell yeah.
Cheers. Good to be back on the mics, Mitch.
Cheers. Oh, let me do one thing. I pulled this up, and
you're like the Tim Cook man of the foamy heads. You've always got that one more thing right at the end.
I do. I while we were checking settings and stuff earlier, I had to check with my local AI assistant to do something for us. So you know how Burial always has overly done descriptions.
100%. 1,000%. All of their names are just extra.
Well, I saw that you added a title for your name, Adjunct Beer Guy, or etc. Beer took my money, all that kind of junk. So I decided to go to the AI and ask it in a Burial beer style, give us a title based on our bios on our website.
Oh, pull it up.
Unfortunately, I'll pull it. I'll go ahead and share. It'll be way easier for you to read along to.
I don't even want to know.
It is way too long character count for this. Hold on. Sorry. That's my work. Okay. Here it is right here. Yes, let's give Richard the Burial style treatment with all the reverence and glorious absurdity. So there you are, fresh water in a sea of static, the digital monk's reckoning, or how Richard brewed clarity in a world of glitched realities.
God, that's Burial.
Check this out. It grabbed your preferences, of course, scraping through all your stuff.
Wow.
And you got an IPA, double dry hopped IPA. And right here, pulled from the binary ether. It's just like, damn, that's great.
This is scary, man. Like, it just knew.
Yeah. Dude, lupulin laced waveform. Cold fermented for clarity, just like his thoughts mid-podcast, surrounded by co-host chaos. That's me.
Surrounded by co-host chaos. This is the beer you sip while calibrating your signal and remembering behind every podcast there's a Richard keeping the waveform holy.
Damn.
What the hell?
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
I wish this was like 11%, but hey. It needed to be a double IPA at that point.
Let's give Mitch his own overwrought Burial style beer moniker with the appropriate reverence. The cinematic fade of Mitchell Cooley, the grain-spliced reverie of a silent brewer who cut life frame by frame. Mixed fermentation foeder, aged blonde ale with jasmine rice koji. ChatGPT is scary, man.
It's got, all the shit that I'm just into flavor-wise listed here.
This is wild.
B-roll dreams. I love my B-roll where I just take random shit. Keyframes. Each sip is While suckily haunts the background, subtle umami and the calm confidence of a man who speaks through the lens, not the mic.
Nope.
Wow. Ridiculous.
Old ChatGPT.
So, there we have it, man. There's our beers rather than titles. It went to the full bar, but
That's scary, Mitch. I'm assuming you didn't have to give too much of a prompt in order to get that. You probably copied and pasted something from a bio in there, and it just rolled with it.
I gave it a URL because of the free advanced version, and it just scraped your bio. And I asked it to do a burial brewing version, very abstract. I gave 0 kind of instructions, so I
did well.
I anticipated I was going to have to craft it, but I enjoyed that enough. I was like, maybe another time I'll craft it heavier later, but that was fun enough.
We will do an episode. We'll get a couple of other guys on here. We will do an episode of just insane burial names and descriptions because I got to be honest, that didn't disappoint. From what you just posted, and you gave it a URL and it figured it out. So thanks ChatGPT for stealing our info. I guess we've been giving you our info all these years through the website, and ChatGPT has come back to bite us. So
crazy.
Cheers to Mitch and ChatGPT, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, cheers.
I got nothing.
Cheers to the end of society.
That's exactly what it is.